Hello, I'm Danica Lorer, and this is Lit Happens, your celebration of the literary arts here in Saskatchewan. Today I'm very pleased to welcome Adam Pottle. Adam, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's very nice to be here.
So let's just start and talk a little bit about what brought you to this place. Why are you a writer?
Well, I first started writing when I was 16, and what got me writing was my grade 11 English teacher. His name was Dr. Ian Kluge, and he was this big, bald, burly man, and he had these small eyes that just darted behind his glasses. And what would happen was, in class, he would tell us stories like The Telltale Heart, and he would just tell these stories with just so much vigor and so much energy and so much enthusiasm that I thought, oh my God, I want to do that too. And that's what got me started as a writer.
And so I know you write in a lot of genres. You've got a book of poetry, you have a novel, you have a novella coming, you've had a play produced. Why write in so many different genres?
Because I have to write in a way that suits the idea. Like, for example, with my play Ultrasound, that idea started out as a poem. It started out as a long poem with the two characters, the husband and wife, kind of speaking back and forth, one speaking in sign language and the other one speaking in regular spoken English. But then they started out as voices, but then they became more than that. They became people, they became characters. And I thought, you know what, this isn't going to work so much as a poem. So I started writing it as a play, and that's when the idea really started to gain momentum. So I stuck with it.
And do you have a preference for any? Do you like writing poetry better than prose?
I really don't have a preference, to be honest, because each genre has its own attractions, its own qualities, and it's. I mean, I know that that kind of makes me kind of difficult to define, because a lot of writers, a lot of people want writers to kind of fit into neat categories, like, you know, you're a novelist or you're a poet and you have to stay in that way. But Canada has a history of having writers who fit into a lot of different categories. We have Margaret Atwood, we have Michael Ondaatje. So writers who are able to fit into a number of different categories are quite interesting, to say the least. Mm-hmm. And for me personally, it's just part of the challenge of writing for me to keep going into different genres.
And I don't think anyone could ever define you as in one single little box. So your new project, tell me a little bit about your new project.
Well, my new project is called The Bus, and it's a novella. So it's, again, another kind of different project for me. And it's a novella, and it's set on a single day, on April 21st, 1931. And it's based on true events. And what happens is the story is told by 8 different narrators. 6 of them are mental patients. One of them is a young doctor, a psychiatrist, who is charged with killing these patients. And then another, the final narrator is the man who works in the crematorium and has to burn their corpses. And it's set within Nazi Germany. And what happens is that there's 6 patients, along with 35 of their fellows, are transferred by bus from a mental institution to euthanasia clinic, and it's about their journey from one place to the other.
That even sounds like that could be produced as a play as well.
It's possible. It's definitely something I'm considering. I think that it would work quite well on stage. And
I've read Mantis Dreams, and I was struck by the depth of character in that. Now, did that character, when you were writing the character of Dr. Ripley, did that surprise you at all?
He surprised me a lot. There were some of the things that he said where I would just ask, whoa, where did that come from? Because a lot of the things that he says, as you know, they're definitely not politically correct. And sometimes he would often say something, or he would do something where he would really push the limit of human behavior, and he would really push the limit of his individual relationships. He gets in a lot of trouble with his sister. He gets kicked out of his care home because of his behavior. He gets in a trouble with in all these different ways, but it's staying true to the character, because if he just suddenly turned around and behaved nicely, that's not the character. So I had to obey the direction that the character was taking.
And do you find that you're often surprised when you open up your imagination and your writing?
Yes, and that's the way it should be, because sometimes, well, often what happens is that I'll put characters into a certain situation, and then I just kind of let them lead me, and in that way they constantly surprise me, and that's one of the biggest joys of writing for me.
And so what are some of your other favorite things about writing?
The musicality of language is a big one for me, especially because I'm hard of hearing. So text and writing is kind of my anchor. It's my way of engaging with the world. It's something that anchors me to and allows me to access reality. So that is, for me, the biggest attraction of writing, is that it kind of puts me on solid ground.
And how do people react to your stories and your poems and all of your writing?
I've had a variety of different reactions. With Dexter Ripley and Mantis Dreams, I had a lot of people were laughing. With Ultrasound, I'll tell you this quick story. When we were doing the preview performances of Ultrasound, I had a friend come to the performance, and his name is Daniel Tisdale Scott. Who's a poet from Saskatchewan.
Yes.
And he came to the performance, and I went up to him after the performance, and he was just bawling his eyes out. And I asked him, "Are you okay?" And he said, "No." Oh. and he came up to me and he gave me this big bear hug, and that for me was the best reaction that I ever received from that play, because it was supposed to be tragic. It was supposed to be sad. It was supposed to get that kind of reaction out of people. So for Daniel to react that way was it was a really good feeling for me. Yeah. Really gratifying.
And I guess as a writer, that's what you want to do. You want to make emotional connections.
That's right.
With your readers, with your audience.
Yeah, you want to get a reaction out of people, and that's definitely something that I try to do with my work, because as a writer, my subject matter is deafness and disability, which is often something that people are really uncomfortable with. And as a writer, that's very, very useful, because because if you want to get a reaction out of people, if you talk about disability or deafness in certain ways, that can get a reaction out of people really, really quickly. Mm-hmm. And so that's, but also deafness and disability are just really rich subjects to explore, and they're very seldom explored in Canadian literature as a general rule. So it's I'm really fortunate to have discovered that area.
Well, and I'm glad that you're exploring that. Now, Adam, that's all the time we have for today. So just quickly, can you tell us where we can find your books?
You can find my books at McNally Robinson here in Saskatoon. You can find them on Amazon, on Indigo, away from the publisher's website. I have two publishers. It's Caitlin Press and Quattro Books.
Thank you, Adam. I'm Danica Lorer, and this has been Lit Happens. You can find past episodes on Shaw TV Saskatoon on the YouTube channel. You can contact me on Facebook or Twitter, or email me at danicalorer@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.